Falcons owner Arthur Blank has officially lost his mind. The Falcons are looking to have their worst season ever and need a change, but relocation is not an option since they just built a stadium less than 5 years ago. The fans are super unhappy, so he's decided to trade away the entire roster to other leagues for a whole new team of misfits, and he has received very little talent in return. With the season approaching and the head coach quitting, considering all the changes, somebody has to coach this band of convicts, replacements, and high school kids. And that one person is me. Can this team of fictional characters taken straight out of movies make a real NFL team and possibly even a shot at the title? You'll just have to wait and see. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Atlanta Falcons movie team franchise. We have made an entire roster, and by we I mean me, has made an entire roster, or almost an entire roster, of movies taken, of players taken straight out of movies. Not one of these guys is real. Well, a couple of them are sort of real, but we're basing them off all the movies that they were in. Like we have like Rudy, who obviously was a real guy, but we're basing it off the movie Rudy, not of real Rudy. So the way this series will work, we will play the preseason. We'll do all 3 games, and you guys will decide the starters out of the players that you were about to meet. But we need more players. I need you guys to suggest me some players from movies that I may have forgotten that I can create and put on the team, because we need more players. We most need a halfback and secondary players in the defense. We need corners and safeties, and maybe even a D lineman, as we do have roughly 5, 6, or 7 roster spots remaining. I know that says we have 73 out of 75, but of the guys I've created that are actually going to make the roster, we have about 8 left at the max. So please suggest me some players that you want to see. We'll probably play 8 or 9 of their actual regular season games to kind of get through the season a little bit. But I hope this is going to be a lot of fun. There'll be some other rules that I'll explain later. It's going to be fun. Let's meet the team. Let's start out with the quarterback, as that is Joe Kingman. Joe Kingman from the movie The Game Plan. If you've ever seen that with The Rock, it's an old Disney movie. As of course, Joe Kingman actually was an MVP quarterback in that movie, playing for the Boston Rebels, as he liked to say with his lisp, because he had the allergic reaction to the cookie in the movie. I don't know if you guys remember that. Very good quarterback, like I said, with the MVP. Maybe a little bit too eager to get out of the pocket. Wants a lot of the stats for himself. Very narcissistic. It'll be interesting to see if he can put away the individual stuff and lead this team to a victory. As if he can't, backup quarterback is Paul Crewe, fresh out of the pen. Paul Crewe, of course, served 3 years in a Texas prison because he was drunk driving. Former NFL quarterback, but he did throw a game, so maybe a little bit of turmoil in the locker room with him in there. Of course, he also was an MVP quarterback, but like I said, was in jail. Most recently got a win over the guards with the Mean Machine. The third stringer is Willie Beeman. From Any Given Sunday, played on screen by Jamie Foxx. Willie Beeman was your very stereotypical, or what, not stereotypical, but exactly what you wanted out of a modern day quarterback. He could throw he could throw incredibly far, incredibly accurate. He can run, maybe a little too much, maybe even more of a back than a quarterback, but just very much what you want to see in today's game. But still a third stringer. He's still 28, got good dubs there in Miami, and still, even when the starter came back, who was 39, he got benched. So he is our third stringer. Our very last quarterback on the roster is Shane Falco, played on screen by Keanu Reeves. He is the 4th-string quarterback because he is quite literally a replacement player. If you don't know who Shane Falco is, he's from a movie called The Replacements, in which, once again, like a similar situation to what Willie Beeman had, where the starter came back in their last game. He had to come in and finish the game at halftime. A little bit shaky in the clutch moments, Shane Falco. He got absolutely destroyed in his final college game in the Sugar Bowl, where they got beat like 45-0 or something like that. And he never played football again, but hopefully he can come make an impact here for the Falcons. Not sure how much playing time he'll get, but I'm sure that he will serve his role nicely, and we'll definitely get to see him some in the preseason. So now moving on to the halfbacks. Our first halfback is from the longest yard. He was in the backfield with Paul Crew. It is Nelly Megat, as I was going to put something besides Nelly for his first name, but they literally don't have anything on what his first name actually is, which is the case for a lot of these guys on this team, so I usually just put their actual first name, because Nelly did play Megat in the movie, as he is very quick, very agile, has a ton of moves, very shifty. He will definitely be he will most likely be RB1, very, very shifty, like I said, and will definitely be our elusive back. Is now moving on to Jamaal Wade, also from the game plan. He will be our receiving back for the most part. As you can see at the bottom, that was what his archetype is. He does not have the best awareness. He caught a pass in the game plan movie in the 2-minute drill and did not realize that he needed to get out of bounds. So obviously not the best awareness, because 2-minute drill, you want to get out of bounds at all chances. So then our last back, Walter Cochran, also from the replacements. Very old running back. He'll be like our Frank Gore type guy, going to be a power back. His dream in the movie was to just get 1 touchdown, which he did in the movie, but on that play he blew out his knee, which is why he wasn't in the NFL in the first place. So injuries might be a factor here for Walter. As now we move on to the rest of our backfield. And taking up the rest of our backfield will be the great Kali, a.k.a. Turley, coming in at 7 feet, 347 pounds. He's an absolute monster. He's a 78 overall, because I'm pretty sure he could block trains from coming through that line. I mean, 7 feet, 350, that is huge. He'll be one of the biggest players on the field at all times. I mean, he's just absolutely massive. You can see him literally throwing people in the movie that he is in. That's the longest yard, of course, so he'll be a nice addition there at fullback. I'm sure he'll get plenty of carries as well, because why wouldn't he? Wide receiver 1 for this franchise is going to be Travis Sanders. He is from the game plan. He is the one that Joe always passed up throwing to, even though he was usually wide open. He'll be a good route runner, a good catcher for us, and probably Joe's, whoever's our QB1, his primary target. He'll be very, very reliable. Maybe can teach some of these younger guys, but besides him, it only goes down from here in the receiver category. Wide receiver 2 is Deacon Moss, who is played by Michael Irvin on screen. He definitely prefers basketball, as you can see in the movie, but he has some insane jumping ability and can definitely catch with those gloves on, because who can't catch with NFL gloves? Once again, another guy serving time and played for the Mean Machine. We've got plenty of inmates and convicts and all sorts of crap on this team, so we will take him. Wide receiver 3 is Clifford Franklin of the replacements. He was getting thrown at by Shane Falco. His only problem is he can't catch in the slightest, but his upside is that he was an All-American in the hurdles in college, and also had, obviously, in hurdles, you got to be fast and have some jumping ability, so maybe he can get up there for some of these catches, but right now stuck at a 68 because he can't catch. So once we can teach him how to do that, he might be a star, but until then, we will see. As in wide receiver 4 is Charlie Tweeter, who, of course, is just out of high school. Charlie Tweeter. Very loud, very short, very quick, and very tough. That is Charlie. Hopefully he can be here for a long time. He's just 20, even though he somehow has 5 years of experience. This is a relatively new game. We're going to give him the superstar development rate, not because he deserves it, but because he's 51 overall, and I don't want to see him stay at 51 for forever. We want to, kind of develop him kind of quickly. Not sure how much people will like this series, so we want to, at least have some of these guys getting some touches or getting better before the end of it. Moving on to our 5th and final receiver, it is Forrest Gump. As a lot of these faces I wasn't even close on, I'm not going to lie to you. There was really not a whole lot of faces in Madden. It's super hard to customize guys. I did just replace the normal Falcons. We did not we didn't trade them away, and in game we just replaced them. They're not free agents or anything. Because, in my little story, we traded them away. So they're not available for other teams to pick up. But Forrest Gump, obviously incredibly fast. If you haven't seen the movie, you're not breathing, because everybody breathing's seen the movie. Incredible movie, incredible player, kick returner at Alabama with 99 speed and excel. Man, he can run. and 99 kick return, because I'm pretty sure he returned 2 kicks in the movie in a span of about 30 seconds. But besides that, I mean, he's stupid. Like, he tells you in the movie he's dumb. He's got literally zero awareness, so it'll be interesting to see how he can perform outside of those kick return duties. Moving on to tight end, we have Brian Murphy, who was another replacement, and he would have gone first round if he was not deaf. He is an incredible tight end, has very good speed for his size, can definitely catch the ball, made a diving catch for the win in the movie, but the only problem is he's deaf, so I have to be sure to not hot route him, because obviously he wouldn't be able to hear that in game, and obviously has very low, or not very low, but lower awareness than what anybody else would have, because like I said, he's deaf. But other than that, great athlete. Tight end number 2 is Cheeseburger Eddie, out of The Longest Yard. Of course, another guy in the pen, but he's played on screen by Terry Crews. And I mean, Terry Crews is massive, Cheeseburger Eddie's massive. He should be a decent tight end for us. Definitely will be throwing some burgers at some linebackers. Tight end number 3 is Kyle Cooper, out of The Game Plan. He'd probably be more like a backup receiver for us. He's your typical blocking tight end. He absolutely pancaked a D-end in the movie. But other than that, not really a whole lot to say about old Kyle. On the O-line, our first O-lineman, starting left tackle most likely, is Clarence Monroe, 6'7", 285. He is absolutely huge. He was the one in the movie that always said you can't touch his golden undies, and he is massive. He'll obviously be very, very strong, and at just 285, he'll be relatively quick and be able to stop most pass rushers, and then with that weight and strength, he'll be able to do quite a bit of damage in the run blocking. He'll be our best O-lineman by far. As then at left guard, we have Andre Jackson. Him and his brother, who was our right guard, are an absolute beast of a duo together, but you split them apart and they are horrible, as that is what their downfall was in their own league. They got split up and then they were pretty bad, but together they are an absolute powerhouse. As here is the brother of Andre and Jamaal. Jamaal's a little bit shorter, but maybe even a little bit tougher, as they should be they're a very good interior lineman for us. Moving on to the tackle who also played with the Jackson brothers. This is Jumbo Fumiko, former sumo wrestler, who will have a lot of strength, be very good at moving guys on run blocking. It'll be interesting to see how he will be on pass blocking, as these guys were all replacement players in the movie, the replacements obviously. So it's a replacement line for Atlanta, but maybe, just maybe, they can get whoever our quarterback is some nice protection. Moving on to the center, this is where we lack. The Slender Man Umana, another guy with no first name in the movie, but his nickname was the Slender, so we gave him the Slender. This is 6'2", 350 out of Texas State, the two-way Ironman athlete at Texas State. Obviously did play center and even got a sack in the movie, so if we need to, we can use him at D-end. He is good at both, but nowhere near great at either, so he'll be more of like a utility player for us, but will most likely start in the center spot, as the only guy giving him competition is Big Tony, out of The Longest Yard, famous for getting absolutely killed on a fair catch attempt in the movie. I mean, he got murdered, but he's obviously just very, very big. That's why they call him Big Tony, and that's pretty much all he's got. He's just a big body. Moving on to another guy that we gave superstar development to just because we want to see him get up in the rating. This is Billy Bob, out of Varsity Blues. He's the one that played alongside Charlie Tweeter. Very, very tough guy. Passed out and got his quarterback hurt, which is definitely not what you want to see, but he can pull block incredibly well and will be a good interior lineman for us one day, but maybe not today. Another lineman who we need to develop is Louis Lastic, as he should have star development. A lot of these guys that I made, I can already see that a lot of this has been changed just through the game, just not being, very old. But 6'1", 400 pounds, Louis is absolutely huge. He's actually ripped now in real life, but in the movie, he was big. I mean, he was a whole unit of a man, but hopefully he can, get those upgrades and be a good lineman for us maybe later in the season even. Moving over to the defense, first off at D tackle, we have Swatowski, who is another guy with only one name in the movie, but he is played on screen by Bob Sapp, who was obviously an NFL D lineman, an absolute monster at that. Not as great as some other D linemen that we have that have played in the NFL on this squad, but he should be very decent for us. He hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with the meanest clothesline I think I've ever seen Steve Austin receive in the movie. Should be a hard hitter, but other than that, not a lot to say about old Swatowski here. Alongside him on the D-line is Andre Krim, who was actually a professor at Texas State, realized he had some eligibility left, and played along Manu Manoa, or whatever the hell his name is, and got a sack as well. Obviously played offensive line because, like I said, played two ways, so he could maybe play offensive line for us if bad comes to worse, but he'll mostly play D-tackle, which was what he was best at in the movie, but he got a little bit of age on him, but maybe he can bring some of that schoolyard education to the game and help this young team out. Another project for us will be Julius Campbell out of Remember the Titans, who will definitely be an animal for us here coming up with the superstar development. He's a 71 now, was great in the movie, obviously team captain, should be great for us. It'll be exciting to see what he can bring to the table. Our backup right and left end anywhere is Rudiger, like I said, just 5'6", 165 pounds out of Notre Dame. It should be awesome to see him get to play. I just hope he makes some big plays like we know he can, but probably not, if we're being real. Finally, that brings us to our last D lineman. This is Luther the Shark LeVay. From Any Given Sunday, he was a Miami Shark, which is what earned him the nickname the Shark, as he had an incentive-based contract in the movie in which he almost always achieved, as he had quite a few head injuries, which will play a factor, but he is an absolute mammoth. When you have Lawrence Taylor play you in a movie who is the greatest NFL D lineman of all time, then it's probably safe to say you'll be good in the movie and in a Falcons jersey. Lord knows how long we'll have him at 36 with all the concussions he's had. We will cherish every snap with Luther LeVay. Moving on to our linebacker core. First off, we have Joey Battle, or it's Batagilo or whatever his name is, but we're just calling him Battle, which is what he was in the movie. Once again, his face is wrong. I will fix that for the next episode. But Joey Battle is played on screen by Goldberg, former WWF, WWE superstar, absolute monster of a man. Obviously going to be, or actually not really the hardest hitter in the movie. He definitely laid some shots, but he did it with brass knuckles on, as he will more be our field general type running, or our field general, type linebacker, just a very sound guy, because he recovered a lot of fumbles, knew the game pretty well in the movie. That's hopefully what he can do for us. Once again, Lord knows how long we'll have him, because he's pretty old. On the interior lineman spot, this is Daniel Bateman, who was a former FBI agent turned linebacker in The Replacements. So he is a very, very, very hard hitter, absolutely monster of a hitter. He killed Shane Falco 3 different times in practice just because he wants to hit so terribly bad. He will definitely force some fumbles this year, and he will definitely get burned in coverage multiple times. But we will love to have Mr. Daniel Bateman on the field with us. Lining up on the inside with him, how could we make a team without him? It's Bobby Boucher. Bobby Boucher, of course, was superstar talent. He broke all the NCAA records in college. We all know what Bobby Boucher can do. We've all seen The Water Boy. Absolutely incredible hit power for Bobby Boucher, as we see that 91 tackle, 91 pursuit, 99 hit power, and the 10 awareness that he has, because Lord knows he's coming on a blitz every single down. But I just pray for the other team's quarterback, because if he says anything about water, Lord knows Bobby's coming to get him. At our left outside linebacker position, this is an interesting one. This is Terry Tate, the Office linebacker. If you have not seen Office linebacker on YouTube, I would highly encourage you to watch it. It's absolutely hilarious, as Terry Tate will be our left outside linebacker. He is definitely a hard hitter, but he's never even seen the field, or we've never seen him on the field, so it'll be interesting to see how he can play in actual game action, because it's a lot different from hitting Doug in The Office, from hitting Derrick Henry in an NFL field. Backing up our outside linebackers will be Courtney Kate, who backed up Terry Tate in the Office linebacker series. He got drafted by Felcher & Sons in the show, and then got moved to their Europe franchise, so he will be a development type player for us, as he can hopefully learn a lot from Our backup inside linebacker is Vontae Mack, the sleeper pick. in draft day. Was played on screen by Chadwick Boseman. Not enough I can say about Vontae Mack. He will be the prototypical linebacker. He'll be everything we need him to be. Just going to be a great addition to the team. Definitely going to be nice to have a guy that plays linebacker who can actually cover people, unlike the rest of this hard-hitting squad that we have. So he'll probably see quite a bit of field time. Moving on to our corners. First up, or not corners, safeties. First up, this is Brian Chavez out of Friday Night Lights. He was the best player on that team, wanted an academic scholarship or a football scholarship to some place. He will definitely be a project for us, just like the rest of these high school kids, but he should bring quite a bit to the table, so he can do just about everything from that safety position. As our other safety is Torrez out of the longest yard. We saw him absolutely lay the lumber on a guard in like the very first play of the game, as he is very undisciplined. Maybe just wants to kill people more than he wants to intercept a pass or actually play a zone, but he should be fun to watch, and I would not get in his way. The backup safety position is Petey Jones out of Remember the Titans. Everybody loves Petey Jones. I'm not sure why he has a hand warmer and a towel or anything like that. Really, a lot of these things have already been changed. I'm not sure why. It's just automated or what. But Petey Jones will be the backup safety. He's another guy that we're just going to have to develop. Only 60 overall, but then again, he's never played a down of college football, let alone professional football. CB1 will be Earl Wilkinson, the replacement player who got a pick 6 in a real pro football game. But he was released from prison and allowed to play. So now obviously he's out full-time and will be playing for the Falcons full-time. Should be a very nice coverage player for us, and definitely the best one we have. Is backing him up is Stefan Djordjevic, whatever the heck his name is. We're going to call him Stefan, played by Tom Cruise on screen in all the right moves. He is very short and pretty undersized for an NFL player, but do not sleep on his hitting ability or his playmaking ability. He should be good in years to come. Got a football scholarship to UC Poly and is now playing for the Falcons. Our third best overall corner is Trumaine, who was played on screen by Wesley Snipes, hence the name Wesley Trumaine in the movie Wildcats. Not a whole lot to harp on about Trumaine here. He was a good corner in the movie, but then again, that wasn't high school, so we're gonna have to develop him like the rest of these guys. Our last man on the defense is Alan Bosley from Remember the Titans. He's only 6 foot 170. He's played by Ryan Gosling on screen. He's not going to be very strong. He's going to be decently fast, but he's going to just have to be a development guy like the rest of these high school players. So it'll be interesting to see how good any of them can get, or if they were total waste of created players. Our kicker for this franchise is Nigel Gruff, the highest overall player on the team. From the replacements, he nailed a 65-yard field goal like it was nothing. In the movie, he is Nigel the Leg Gruff, has an absolute cannon for a leg. He's got very good accuracy, but it's just all pales in comparison to the leg that he's got on him, as he should be a little bit fatter, but that's what his listed weight was, and you can't really do body mass in Madden, so that is our Nigel Gruff. As our punter will be Derrick Wallace, who was Bobby Boucher's teammate in Waterboy, as he actually nailed a 60-yard field goal himself, but we already have a kicker, and there's not really too many movie punters, so that is why Derrick Wallace will have the punting duties. As then our backup for literally everything is Brucey. Brucey played backup quarterback behind Paul Crewe in the longest yard, fumbled one snap, and then got absolutely killed on the next. But Brucey is ready to go, as that is one of the rules of the franchise. If we need a backup player, and unless we have somebody already else at that position, then it will be Brucey. So if we need somebody to fill in, we're not going to pick anybody up or anything like that. Brucey will have to play if somebody gets hurt. Or let's just put it this way, Brucey will see the field this year. He's not good at anything, but he is not absolutely god-awful at everything. So it'll definitely be interesting when Brucey gets out on the field. So that is the last rule of the series. Brucey will be the backup for just about everything. Obviously, I can't make him the backup in the depth chart because he's listed as a punter. You can't put the punter at like backup left tackle or anything like that, but he will play quite a few downs. But like I said before, let me know some other players from movies that or even TV shows maybe, that you guys think should be in there. We need halfbacks, corners, safeties, and D-line the most. Maybe even another O lineman, but those are the priorities. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. And we will do the preseason in the next video, and you guys can decide the starters and the captains. I forgot to mention that as well. I need you guys to decide who our captains are gonna be. And I will see all you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoyed. Bye-bye.